All right. Dallas Stars versus Philadelphia Flyers, Game 6 of October 20th. As usual, we start off with each video with going back to last video's predictions for this game. We both agreed that if the Stars were going to win, it would be a 3-2 score. Not exactly the score that it was. I mean, it was 2-1, but we both guessed that it was going to be a 1-goal game. And that's usually, I base that off of usually what Philadelphia strives to be is a gritty team that really likes to come out, set the tone, hit a lot, try to just overpower the opposition. And especially at home, Philadelphia had they were riding a 2 shutout streak going in, but they elected to go with Steve Mason in the game. What are we waiting on here? There we go. They elected to go on Steve Mason to go into the game, which I thought was a little weird, don't you think?
Yeah, it's kind of like Ruff said whenever he's talking about juggling lines between Niemi and Lettinen. He said he's going to ride whichever goalie is the hottest. And I feel the Flyers should have taken a note from that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I thought it was weird that they had, is it Neuwirth? They have Michael Neuwirth from Washington. Yeah. He posts 2 shutouts and, quintessentially gets put back on the bench once Mason comes in. Granted, Mason is their number 1 and is paid like their number 1, so I can understand wanting to get Mason in as soon as possible to let him get back into the feel of things. But I thought maybe against Dallas wasn't the best option to do that, especially with how the Stars have been playing, how much offense they create. I thought it was a bad play on their side of things. Also, I want to, as most Stars fans know, that we get extremely upset whenever the games are on the national broadcast. Because you know why? Because we have the best broadcasting duo in the league. It's been said many times. We now have, it used to be Ralph and Razor. Now we go to Strader and Razor. And though Strader is no Ralph Strangis, he's really stepped in and has filled a hole by complimenting Razor very well, and this not only being a national broadcast, but it was the Philadelphia's broadcast that came in and really, that's the broadcast that we got. What'd you think about that?
They had a lot of high praise for the Dallas Stars, though. It seemed like they were riding the coattails of the Stars more than the Flyers.
Oh, I completely...
it's understandable in that game. Philadelphia came out and I would say controlled about the first 15 minutes of the first period. After they scored that goal...
I wouldn't exactly say they controlled it. They were definitely still in the game within those first 15 minutes, but I would say that control might not be the best word for it.
That's where I disagree with you, because I feel like Philadelphia was on the attack probably more of the first 15 minutes. I felt like they were outplaying the Stars.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely had their chances. The one thing that I noticed about Philadelphia is that all throughout the game, when Philadelphia got their chances, those were grade A chances. I think it might have looked that Philadelphia was kind of in control for the first 15 minutes because of the chances that they had. I'd say the degree of chances that they had. But I'd say that the Stars were still, not in control per se. But I think the Stars were well in it, and I thought it was pretty even play from the first, because the Stars came out and they were jumping as well, especially the fourth line of the Stars. You know, the fourth line is filled with nothing but young talent, and they came out and they showed how young they were because of how youthful and how energetic they were out on the ice last night, which was really nice to see. That they're not planning on slowing down at all, and it seems like Ruff really notices that line can still go up against some decent top lines of some teams that are known, especially against like the Giroux. Like, I mean, you saw Fosca out there taking draws against Giroux, and granted he didn't win all those draws, but he won some draws against Giroux, which is nice that, you know, he's not intimidated at all, and he looks like he's really starting to take this NHL job, you know, very seriously. Granted, it's only his second game, but it looks like he's not going to slow down at any point.
Oh yeah, that's usually how it seems with a lot of rookies when they come in and play their first couple of games. Like they want it to be known that they're going to be in this league.
Yeah,
for the long haul. So they put every effort into it, and they usually carry it throughout the season as long as they stay up there.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's usually, you know, that old saying of the sophomore slump is what rookies really go through. But right now, I think,
as we're seeing with Nichushkin.
Yeah. Going back to the broadcast, I thought you hit the nail right on the head about the Philly guys. They had a lot of praise for the Stars, and it seemed like they really did their homework. Like, they knew storylines, they knew stats.
Jeez.
They weren't just out there, you know, just giving generalizations to the Stars. Like, they knew some shit about the Stars, and it showed in their broadcast, and I was very appreciative. I don't know about you, and I think Northeasterners really appreciate Doc Ingrid and what's the other guy? The guys that broadcast in this game. Who is it? It's Doc and
Emmerich.
Yeah, Emmerich, and who's the other
Ray
guy?
Ferraro.
And the other guy that's with Doc.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to that.
Yeah, I mute them. But it was I liked seeing the other team's broadcast team because they weren't necessarily homers, but they brought another side to the game that you wouldn't see with just some neutral national broadcaster like you would with Doc Ingrid. And it's Eddie Olczyk. I can't stand Doc and Eddie. I don't like them. I always prefer NBC's B team than to their A team. I think Doc's energy and I don't like his voice. I know I'm in like a huge minority there because anytime you go and you say anything bad about Doc, the majority will say that no, you're wrong. And I don't think I am, but it's only because we're so conditioned to having such a good broadcast team here in Dallas and have been spoiled by it for 20 years and then didn't really know. I think a lot of people just took it for granted because we had it for so long. But I thought the broadcast last night was actually really well, except for whenever they went in studio with like Milbury and Roenick. They had an enormous trouble trying to say Kari's name. Like, what was that about? I couldn't understand why they couldn't say Lehtinen. They were like Lehtinen. I was like, oh, this is just... It was just like the same national bullshit that the Stars always deal with. I want to talk about a little bit of the pregame interviews that Philadelphia had. They were quoted on saying that they wanted to set the tone. They wanted to play a simple brand of hockey. They wanted to play fundamentals, and when you look at that, if they wanted to set the tone, they did not come out and do that. How do you feel with the tone that they tried to set? I mean, who was really?
I feel like I said at the beginning, I feel like they had the upper hand in the first period. It felt like if they were trying to control the game, then I feel like they did it up until Seguin got that kind of garbage goal.
Yeah, that greasy goal.
And from then on out, Philadelphia. There was no more Philadelphia in that game.
Yeah, well, I think for maybe about 5 minutes of the first, Philadelphia really came at them. I don't think they accomplished what they were saying in their pregame interviews, because and when you go and look at their postgame interviews, they came out and said it took them at least 2 periods to really find their legs. I think they had like 5 days off between games, so it really showed that Dallas was way more prepared, just because they had a game earlier or later in last week's than Philadelphia had. So, I just don't think that Philadelphia was able to accomplish what they were trying to do, and I think it was said in their post-game interviews that, it really took them a couple of periods to really find their legs. But, I mean, the last 10 minutes of the third period, they just superiorly outplayed the Stars. And they really, really took it to them. I think the shot differential within the last 5 minutes of the third period was 15-6. So, they got in.
I saw that the shots were 33-32 at the end of the game. I was like, considering I didn't get to see the third period, I could only see highlights of it. But that's what it kind of seemed to me, is like, oh, well, I guess Philadelphia kind of took over the third period.
Yeah, once they got their goal, at the almost the 10-minute mark of the third period, and a light bulb clicked, and I mean, they got a greasy goal too. It was one of those goals that was the only way they were beating Niemi. They were never going to beat Niemi just with a straight-on shot. That's what it felt like. Niemi just seemed like he had magnets in his pads, and everything was going to hit him. The only way they were going to beat him was to get that greasy goal that Couturier got. And talking about, going back to greasy goals and everything. What
are you doing?
With what Seguin's goal was, I mean, Seguin has been more grease than finesse this season, and that is that's a good sign, because it shows that Seguin is getting to dirty areas. He's, committing early and going and crashing the net. It's a great sign that he's not just a pretty play guy that's going to make really? Snipes from 15 feet from outside the slot. He's gonna go to the front of the net, and he's gonna do what he needs to do to make goals, which is so refreshing to see. Not saying that he wasn't doing that last season or his first season here, but you could tell that Seguin has been more of the finesse out of the two between him and Ben would always get some greasy goals just because he's a greasy player. Ben's more physical, and that shows. Ooh, nice goal. That's a greasy goal right there. And then Ben, in a span of a minute, the last minute of the first period, and then 11 seconds into the second period, Ben shows his hands, his quick snapshot. Ben is just the epitome of what Dallas needs. He's grit, he's glamour, he's soft spoken, yet he speaks with actions. He's a don't tell me, show me. That's the type of player he is, and everyone respects that about him in the NHL. You know, like you're never going to see the praise for the player that is just all glitz and no grit. Like an Alexander Simmons. You're never going to see he'll get the great goals, hit some flashy goals, but he's got no grit to his game, so thus he's not going to get as much praise as a Jamie Benn will. So, going into that, usually after a Stars game, I like to go in and see what Dallas radio is saying about the Stars. And today, you know, I give so much praise to Bad Radio and The Ticket because they are the true people that love hockey. Bob Sturm is my leader when it comes to The Ticket, and shout outs to him. They give a great segment on their beginning of the show on the Stars. What I'm always disappointed about is seeing when on the other shows like the Invasion of Normandy and stuff like that, they'll speak on the Stars, but it's only for 2 minutes, and it always just feels like it's shoehorned in. I always have a problem with that. You know, I wish the Star. I think this season, you know, it's going to be a little more different. That they're going to start talking more about the Stars, especially if they keep playing the way they do. Let's see, what else did I have? You cannot control the puck like that while you're being shorthanded. Okay, let's talk about Patrick Sharp and the chances that he's getting. He had a great chance there in the first period, and again, you have to like Sharp's work ethic. Even though he's not cashing in on them, he's still getting those chances, which is a great sign. Like, if he wasn't getting those chances and he was just, you know, coasting around, not really trying, or that would be a cause for concern. But he is really playing his heart out on the first line, and it shows. Just because, especially that one chance that he had, he picked up a puck from the corner in the first period and then charged the net and just barely missed on the backhand, which I thought, I mean, it's such a great sign seeing that everyone out there is trying.
Yeah, we're definitely getting a lot more work ethic out of all four lines, which I think is something that the Stars really haven't had a lack of in the last couple of seasons, but it's becoming more evident, especially with a lot of the newer guys coming up. Right.
So that's a great segue. Let's talk about the oh wow. Let's talk about the infamous player of the game, and it has to go to Nichushkin. I know you have your thoughts on Nichushkin, so let's hear him again.
Like I was telling you last night, that whole too many men on the ice play falls completely on Nichushkin. If you look at the replay, you see him almost in Philadelphia's zone calling for a line change, and then after he calls for it, they get the line change, and there's absolutely no hustle out of him to get back to the bench.
Yeah, he was.
And this is something that has been. He's had a lackluster start in the first couple of games, which you don't want to see out of your number one draft pick, highly touted new rookie that you want to be part of the future of this new Dallas Stars team.
Oh no, I completely agree. Like, that penalty just epitomizes him in saying that he is not getting the message of, if I'm benched, I'll still be able to go out and play. It doesn't matter. Him calling for the line change and him being at the Flyers blue line and doesn't hustle to get off the ice like at all, and there's like 10 feet of ice between him and the bench. That's uncalled for, and hopefully he gets benched in Pittsburgh. I I don't like that about Nichushkin. And a lot of people...
And I feel like the whole reason why that penalty was called is because the ref saw that he was making no effort to get to the bench. And I feel that was what was the epitome of the call.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you look at the replay, it looks like there's almost 7 Stars players out on the ice, but there's only 6. But they're already, like, starting the entire new play with the new line out there, and he's still almost on the Flyers side of the ice.
Right. A lot of people last night were like, oh, he'll be fine. It's like, well, you know what? He got benched 2 games into the period, or into the season. And he goes out and pulls that chicken shit hustle and gets that too many men on the ice penalty in this game after being benched for 2 games. That's unacceptable. And a lot of people are like, well, you know what, maybe he needs to go down to the AHL. But if you read an interview from Jim Nill that he did last night with a reporter from TSN, they asked about Nichushkin, and Jim Nill goes on and talks about how, you know, he missed all of last season. It's still early. He'll be fine. I don't want to say Nichushkin is a lost cause, but I don't think that he's going to be fine. I completely disagree with Jim Nill. He says nothing about sending Nichushkin down to the AHL, and I said it last night to where I think they're scared. If he gets sent down to the minors, he'll jump ship and go to Russia. I honestly think that's what Nichushkin will do. It just seems like...
Yeah, well, I feel like I was telling you last night, like, if that's the kind of attitude that one of your star draftees is going to have, if I'm not a superstar in the NHL, if I'm not getting superstar time, then I'm going to go play in Russia because I'm too good for the AHL. That's horseshit.
Right. No, it's
I would kill to even get a glimpse of the AHL. And, like, for a rookie to play in the AHL, that's sometimes bigger than being in the NHL to some people.
Right.
Because you're getting your chance. I feel they should send him down to Cedar Park. You know what? Slap an A on him or slap the C on him. Give him that responsibility of being the superstar down there.
Right. See,
and then give him the benefit of the doubt if he improves down there.
I mean, I've never disagreed with the thought of sending him down. I just think that he will respond to that negatively. I love the fact of sending him down, slapping a leadership role on him, and then, hell, bring up Travis Morin. The guy's been down in the AHL for fucking forever.
Well, and he's hurt, isn't he? Oh no, that's Moen.
Yeah, that's Moen.
I thought you said Moen.
No, Morin. He's the current captain of the Texas Stars, and I think he's been in a leadership role down there for forever. And I think, you know what, if Nichushkin is not going to play in the NHL, I think it's a great idea to slap a leadership role on him in the AHL, let him mature, bring up Travis Morin, the captain of the Texas Stars, because I think he's well worth bringing up than having Nichushkin in there and doing bullshit plays the way he did. But segueing into a more positive note, how refreshing is it to actually have a goalie that is not named Kari Lehtonen win for the Dallas Stars?
That's actually refreshing. You know, I thought we were going to get something with when Enroth came around, because he was told to be a good backup.
You know what?
But
Enroth, he didn't
again.
Well, Enroth didn't start out well, but he found his groove towards the end of the season. I really thought, oh wow, bad giveaway. I thought he found his groove towards the end, and he was even the the last game, the fan appreciation night, he was the goalie in for Ben's Art Ross trophy. So I thought he played well at the end of the year. Granted, it obviously he didn't play well enough to keep his job with the Stars, but holy balls, is it so great. Not since, and I looked this up, not since we had the backup Alex Auld come in. And Alex Auld is the only backup that we've had that has had a winning record. That's how long it's been since Alex Auld has been our backup here. Back when
he's been out of the NHL for a while.
Every backup since him has had a losing record. Every backup. And that was going back to Turco days. So it just screams to how much Dallas needs a good goalie tandem. Every winning team has a good goalie tandem, and Jim Nill understood that and said, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to go spend some monies on some goalies and really bring something to this team that has been lacking for forever. And you know what? Right now, it's a genius move. How it plays out at the end, we'll see. But right now, how genius is this move? I mean, a lot of people were saying Niemi might be washed up for how he played last season with San Jose, but I've always liked Niemi, even going back to his Chicago days. I've always liked Niemi for the Sharks. I always thought he was a really good goalie. Hell, I think I even had him on my fantasy team one year and did really well with him. So, you know, Jim Nill just seems so genius for that move, and it's so refreshing. So refreshing.
It's weird that we got him for what was it, a conditional third-round pick or something?
Yeah, we stole him. We practically stole Niemi. It's so great. Going in, let's talk about well, you didn't see it since you missed the third period, but going to the third period, the late penalty by the Flyers, I didn't like how the Stars played that penalty. What they did was pretty much what a term in the fighting game cultures is termed as lame it out. And what, if no one knows what this term is, it's a term of you get up in damage, you get your opponent down, and then you just lame out, turtle up, hold the block button or hold back until time runs out, and then you win the match like that. You get up early, and then you just let the clock run out. I didn't like how the Stars just kind of turtled up and said, you know what, we're gonna let you try your best to really throw what you have at us, and we're gonna try to defend it. Especially whenever they were up on the power play. They were up on the power play in the Flyers zone, and they just said, you know what, we're just gonna pass it around, be cute with it a little bit, and not really bring any kind of killer mentality to the Flyers. Like, try to really finish them off and go up 3-1. What they did...
Come on, Dimmers, get up there.
What they did was they just lamed it out, which, I mean, the Stars still won, so obviously it worked. I didn't like seeing it, so hopefully they don't do that again, because you can't try to... Ooh, another post.
Jesus.
You try doing that to a St. Louis. Try doing that to a Washington with Alex Ovechkin out on the ice. That's not going to happen. Like, you can't just sit back and let the opposition come to you and think that you can just skate by every time. it's something that really kind of bothered me.
Oh, come on.
So, what for what you saw those first two periods? What's the rating that you gave the Stars in this game?
Probably a B plus.
Okay.
Just because, kind of, I feel they kind of had a lackluster first couple minutes of the first period, and the third period, as you said, was kind of. It seemed like Philadelphia kind of came out and took the game, but overall, they played a great game.
Right. And I love the quotes that Sagan was giving out after the game. He says that he's getting tired of talking about last season, which I can totally understand. But he was talking about those are the games that the Stars lost last year. You know, they would go up 2-0 and then they'd find some way to lose that game 4-2. You know?
Yeah.
So I gave the Stars an A- based on the fact of how good Niemi was. I thought defense was good. I mean, the Stars got outshot, but it's only because of the last 5 minutes of the third period. Other than that, the Stars were dominating in shots. Stars lose on face-offs, though, which, I mean, only by 3, so it wasn't by much. The Stars got out-hit, which I never like seeing, but it was still a gritty game. You know, you had Roussel in the second period really, really going after Philadelphia, which I loved seeing. And you know what? Roussel is the best at... Oh, wow. That was terrible. Roussel's the best at really, you know, getting under the skin of teams because of what Roussel was doing, and it was bringing momentum back to the Stars. You saw Giroux getting really, really chirpy with Ben.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I love seeing that type of hockey. It reminds me so much of old late 90s hockey, you know, just... And I don't know what Gagne was thinking about going after Roussel like that. He just put the knuckles to him. So, hopefully...
Yeah, I mean, Gagne is not a known fighter, like...
Exactly. But, you know...
Why would you go after somebody who makes his game off of fighting?
You know, props for actually, you know, standing up. And, you know what? This is... I think I said this to you last night. The homer in me says that Roussel penalty when he got mixed up with Schenn, when he got mixed up with Schenn, completely incidental.
That was such a bullshit-ass call.
Completely incidental.
He didn't even look at him.
Exactly.
If Roussel was going to hit him and get a penalty out of it, trust me, you'd know that he was actually going for it.
Yeah, completely incidental. I didn't like that. And then some of those calls, I don't know. The refs just weren't giving the Stars much to work with. You know, the Stars got down. They lost the power plays, taking 4 penalties. 2 of them from Roussel, 1 from Nichushkin, which was really terrible. But it looked like, you know, the Stars had a perfect penalty kill, which is great seeing. But I wish they had, you know, chimed in on one of those power plays. It would have been nice for them to cash in on one of those 2 power plays just to keep that power play really running. But essentially they really only got 1 true power play, I feel, throughout the night. So other than that, wow, that's trash. So the next game, the Stars are in Pittsburgh. What predictions do you have for Dallas and Pittsburgh? Taking in mind this is the second meeting of the Dallas, the second and final meeting of the Stars. The Stars won with Niemi, and I think Niemi is getting the nod again against Pittsburgh. Wow.
That's what I was gonna hope for. Is
So
you look back at how good he played against them the first time. Got a 3-0 shutout. Why not throw him back in there, especially after he's coming off a win?
yeah, reports.
I do have skeptical with Dallas. I'd say it's about 50-50 on who's gonna win.
Okay. What's the score?
I feel like it'll be 2-1 both ways if either team wins.
Interesting.
It's gonna be a hard fought game just because Pittsburgh knows Dallas embarrassed them, and because Dallas has the stars of Crosby and Malkin, and they're gonna come out to look and make a statement against the Stars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Since this is the second meeting in not even really a month, Pittsburgh still has the taste of defeat in their mouth from the Stars. Crosby woke up last game. He got his first goal, so Stars have to be curious about how Crosby is going to be playing next game. I'm going to say if the Stars win, I'm going to say it's on the back of Niemi again. I'm going to say the score is 3-0. I'm going to say it's going to be identical to the home opener. But if the Pens wake up, if their sticks wake up, I think it'll be a completely different game, and I'm going to say the Pens will win 4-1 if their sticks wake up and they can get something past Niemi. So those are the predictions. Tune in next time for the next game, for Game 7, and we'll see how we did.